Hello, hello, hello. My name is Pine. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. If you've never heard of me, that's unfortunate. But I like to think critically about things that do not require me to think critically. And one of the things I love thinking critically about the most is books. Now, you can't see it, but I have a custom bookshelf right there. There's custom made into my wall, and I have a rotating bookshelf right there. I love reading. And this channel is dedicated to books. I have one video out already about me reading the new Hunger Games book, which was delicious, so please be sure to go watch that if you haven't yet. But, today we are going to be reading a book I have heard a lot about and I've been a little too scared to dive in. And that book is none other than The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzin. Hopefully I got that right. But I have this absolutely gorgeous edition. I love it. It's why I bought it, to be honest. But I've heard good things and bad things about this. I'm not entirely sure which one I like to believe. I give all Book Talk books their solid credit. I have not found one that I am particularly impressed by yet, but things can happen. So what I know about this is that it is romantasy, war, and maybe also Reylo fan fiction. So we'll get to that. But yeah, I'm very excited to read it. But before we can read it, we have to pick out a bookmark. You ready? All right. Oh my gosh, a bunch of them just fell out. Oh, they keep going. Awesome. I keep all my bookmarks in this little glass cup right here. It has a little stand and it sits on my bookshelf over in that corner. As you can see, I'm starting to run out of space, so I need a bigger receptacle for them. But I like matching my bookmarks to what I am reading, either aesthetically or color-wise, or in the case of the new Hunger Games book, franchise-wise. So I am now going to go through my bookmarks and see if I can find one that is yellow and purple and pink and all of those colors, which I doubt I have, because that is not usually a color palette I gravitate towards. But I will say, so I did graphic design in high school. This is a masterclass. Everything about this, the color, the unity, it's perfect. This is a good use of this color palette. But let's see. All right, I narrowed it down to 3. We have this little golden moon that kind of hangs over the pages. Bookmarks like this make me nervous because I'm really scared of ripping the pages, so I usually just set them in between. But I feel like it works. The only issue is that it's not quite the right shade of gold. This is very shiny. This is a very dull, almost yellowish color. Now, like I said earlier, this is a very nice color palette, but it is a very rare color palette. I don't see a lot of people using it, which means it's not very marketable, which means that a lot of bookmark manufacturers also probably don't use it. But in terms of actual sized bookmarks, I have this one right here, and it's kind of close. Like the shade of yellow kind of works, and then this like pale green I feel like is a good complementary color, so it might be this one. And then lastly, and this is the one that I don't feel like really goes with it, but it's the only one I have with this kind of moon motif on it. It is this black moon phases one, which I love. I think it's lovely. However, I don't think it really goes with it. I think the black is a little too aggressive, so I don't think I'm going to pick that one. And I think this one just isn't quite big enough, but I think this yellow one might just be good enough, which is all we need. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it to match. This is good. I think we'll go with this one. So now that that's been decided, let's get reading. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm going in entirely blind. I don't know the characters' names. I don't know anything about the plot. This is going to be entirely my opinion about literally everything as it happens. I know nothing about the plot. I checked on Goodreads to try and get a feel for it, and it was pretty split, but I didn't see too many spoilers or anything, so I know nothing. Okay, I've gotten through the prologue and the first little paragraph of chapter 1, and it is glaringly obvious that this is heavily inspired by Star Wars, just because of, like, the naming conventions, especially of the countries, because we have something called, like, the Dominion, the Night Empire. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I did see I don't know what they're called, the Rey movies, with my dad, and so I know a little bit more about them than I know about the rest of it, but this is a little on the nose, and, this is, yeah. In the prologue, it said she had chestnut brown hair with an oval face and brown eyes, and I said, you might as well just include a picture of Daisy Ridley. But yeah, it's not bad so far. I mean, I'm only 10 pages in, but I'll give it a fair shake. I finished the first 2 chapters. It was not as on the nose as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be, like, word for word, bar for bar, just, like, slightly different. But it was different enough for me to, like, if you didn't know that this was Star Wars fan fiction, you might not pick it up. But, yeah. But the guy's name is Alaric, which I'm not saying is because his name is Adam. That the Kylo Ren's actor's name is Adam. I'm not saying that. But, you know, whatever. So it's been a couple of days, and I've been reading on and off. And the main character, Taliesin, keeps talking about these things called storm ships, and I'm really running with the Star Wars idea in my brain, so I'm picturing those big walking ship thingies. I think they're called AT-ATs. I'll try and put a picture in. But that's what I've been picturing the whole time, because she's talking about these big ships that, like, destroy cities. And again, I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I don't know what those big walking thingies do. But that's what I'm picturing when she's talking about those storm ships. Okay, so it just got revealed that Taliesin is the daughter of the crown prince of this other nation. What? What? What are we talking about? Also, to me, a crown prince implies, like, young. And if this guy's old enough to have a 20-year-old daughter, maybe he shouldn't be the crown prince still. Maybe he should be king or something. I don't know. I don't know how these space nations rule their areas, but that's my opinion. Okay, they have since stated that only women can take the throne of this specific country, which makes more sense, but still, we couldn't have thought of a different title other than prince, because that seems a little confusing, but I guess I don't get an opinion. I didn't write it. I just finished part 1. I don't know what's going on. Sci-fi is not really my thing. So all of the words and things that are happening, I don't understand. I am usually just a hard and fast fantasy girly. This is a lot for me. I'm enjoying it, just not. It's taking a lot of extra brain power that I usually don't dedicate. But part 1 was good. I thought it was a little fast. It seemed kind of choppy, but hopefully that can slow down a little bit in part 2, because, you know, part 1 was only 146 pages, and this book is somewhere in the 400s, so hopefully we can slow it down a little bit. But Taliesin and Alaric have both taken their respective thrones, so now I imagine part 2 will talk about their respective responsibilities and such, and that whole general vibe. But yeah, part 2. Okay, sorry, excuse all of this. I had to work today, so I took a shower, so my hair's a little crazy. But Alaric and Taliesin are getting married. They're, like, betrothed to each other, I guess. I don't really know. But if that's what the rest of this book is them doing, like, a forced hate marriage thing, maybe I can get behind it. Maybe I judged too early. Maybe I judged too soon. Because if the entire, like, 3/4 of this book I have left is them just, like, hating each other, maybe. Right now, I feel like the enemies to lovers is very Wattpad about how it's being enemies to lovers, and you'll get what I mean if you get what I mean. Other than that, it's pretty okay. A lot of words that I don't really know, because again, I am typically just like a very cut and dry fantasy girly. Sci-fi with all these different like realms and rules and all of it is just not how my brain works. That's not how my brain works. This is not, I don't know what any of these words mean. Okay, so update. Reading it right now, and so Taliesin was a year old when this whole hurricane war thing started. Okay, so a year, and it's been 19, so she's 20. Alaric was 7, meaning he's 6 years older than her, meaning he's 26 years old. I'm 20 years old. I cannot imagine dating a 26-year-old. Your brain, his brain is done. Well, not done. Your brain actually, it's a misquoted study. Your brain isn't done developing. Like, you still learn and grow. But his frontal lobe was done. Hers isn't. And he's still acting like a baby. Oh my god. This book is taking years off my life. Okay, excuse this. I worked today. And I'm reading it. And I may have just discovered the worst sentence ever written by anyone ever. I can't even say it out loud. That's how horrible it is. But, like, ew. Oh my god. That very well may be the worst thing I've ever read. Very well maybe. Because I've read a lot of really bad things in my day. You think all those books over there are bangers? No. I've gone through some things. Okay? This might take the cake. That, I had to sit in silence for like 15 seconds. That is disgusting. And this was written by a woman. I can't keep doing this, John. I can't. I only have a little bit left. And now I'm really scared. Okay, once again, excuse this. Okay, I had to go to work today. I'm still reading this book, but it's okay because my life is kind of falling apart right now. So I had to travel unexpectedly, and I was not able to bring this book with me. But I am that far into it, and I'm not sure what the plot is. Because this book is called The Hurricane Wars. But the Hurricane Wars have been over for longer than they were happening in the book. So now I'm not sure what I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be, and that's weird. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm trying to figure, I'm bored, is what I'm saying. And I still have like 100 pages left. I've been reading this book for like a month. So I'm almost done. Literally only have that much left. And earlier in the video, I said that she called him, or like I did the math, and he's 6 years older than her. She just called him old man. Huh? Ew. At least we're acknowledging it now. I genuinely don't know if I'll be able to finish this book because I cannot stand Alaric. I genuinely cannot stand Alaric. And I feel like another issue I've encountered with reading this book so far is that the chapters are too long. They're too long. I am encountering like I'm on page 382. It's chapter 30. I want to say, let's see if I can find it. No, that's not right. Yeah, I've been on this chapter for 20 pages. Personally, that's as long as a chapter should be. Any longer than that, and I'm gonna lose interest. I lied. I'm on chapter 31, not chapter 30, meaning which started on page 374, which means I'm about 8 pages into this chapter, so I was making it up. But the thing is there's not enough happening in this book for me to even be able to tell the difference between for me to be able to tell the difference between what chapter I'm reading. That is insane. Okay, so I am on page 392 of 468. So, like, I don't know, maybe like 92% done. I don't know, I'm not good at math. And it's just now getting interesting. Just now. Like, well over 75% done. And it's just now getting interesting. I shouldn't have to wait that long. Your book should be interesting enough on its own? Huh? What? It took me this long to care about any of these people. That's crazy. Okay, you're gonna have to excuse my, the darkness in my room because it is, I didn't turn my light all the way on. But I'm on page 445. 445 of 468. So I have 23 pages left, and there's just now smut. And I have a feeling it's not even going to be the real thing. We got to talk about pacing, girl, because what? Huh? What? This makes no sense, bestie. All right, so I just finished it. It was fine. Definitely not the worst thing I've ever read, but also maybe not the greatest. So I want to break it down into a pros and a cons. Because it had good parts, it just had bad parts. And they were shockingly pretty even. I thought the pros were very strong, but the cons took away a lot. Now for the pros, starting off with the world building. I thought the world building was really cool. The magic system was unique. I liked the way the world worked. On the back, it said it's set in a Southeast Asia inspired world. I didn't really get that vibe. To me, it just felt more spacey, kind of. But I thought it was good. The magic system was interesting. Another pro was, this one's actually kind of funny, that the main character wasn't blonde and blue-eyed and like this big. I appreciated that because we are having that epidemic right now in the fantasy reader world where all the main characters are blonde and blue-eyed. And I say that as a blonde, blue-eyed individual, that I appreciate it when the character has something distinctive about them. Now, this still fell into the category of her being the last one of her kind or whatever, but I appreciated that it deviated from that slightly. Another pro was, I'm just going to say the magic system in itself. I know that's part of the world building, but I thought it was very interesting. I liked how there were different elements. It wasn't just all one thing. I thought that was very cool. I might put more in, but I can't think of any right now. As for cons, they do kind of, I said they're pretty even, but the cons do outweigh the pros just by a little bit. I have more cons that I can name. One of those specifically being okay, that was my cat. One of those specifically being the dynamic between Taliesin and Alaric. I thought it was deeply strange, and I didn't really appreciate the age gap, but maybe that's because I'm the same age as Taliesin, and I can't picture myself dating somebody 6 years older than me, because that's weird. That's fucking weird. I don't like it. I don't trust it. I don't believe it. As for like actual story, the pacing was extremely strange. This book is called The Hurricane Wars, and the Hurricane Wars were over about 150 pages in, and then they spent the next 350, I don't know the exact math, they spent the next 350 pages screwing around. I don't know, because this book didn't hinge on the Hurricane Wars. We didn't even know, like, the Hurricane Wars were already happening when we picked up the book, and then they were done before we even got to the plot. So it just made it a little harder to follow, and I feel like with it being the title, we should have gotten a little more, or this book should have been titled something else. Okay, going back to the prose side, it was not as Star Wars fanfic-y as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a little more on the nose, and it wasn't. There were some things where you were like, uh-huh, So I do know where you got this from. So that was a pro, but back to the con side, the points where you could tell that it was fan fiction were very, very obvious. And that's not a bad thing. We all have to get our start somewhere. I will admit, I am a fan fiction partaker. I partake in fan fiction. It's fun, it's cool, it's awesome. But when you are doing an original IP like this, you want to make sure it's different enough to where if I close my eyes and squint, I can't really see the similarities. But yeah. And I don't want any of this to be taken as I don't like this author or I think what she did was a bad thing, anything like that. I understand how much work goes into publishing a book. I understand that this is probably, like, this is a big deal. I do believe this is her first traditional book. And like I said in the beginning of the video, this is a gorgeous cover. This is a gorgeous addition. It's just not really my genre, and it had a lot of tropes that I'm not a fan of. But overall, it did really, really well, and, I mean, I can't say I didn't have a good time. I had a good time hating on Alaric, so, you know, it's whatever. But, to Miss Thea Guanzin, again, I'm probably totally butchering that, keep writing, dude. I know that there's the second book that came out in December called A Monsoon Rising. It's right there. It's also a very nice cover. I probably will not be checking it out just because I wasn't horribly invested in this one. I thought the ending was good. I thought the twist was good. I just wish there was a little more build-up because I felt like Alaric's father was sort of this background character, so we didn't really get the chance to see his motivation for a lot of things come out until the end, and that just kind of shocked me a little bit. But, I mean, it wasn't horrible. I at least had a good time. I would probably rate it 2.5 out of 5 stars. So definitely middle of the road. It had a lot of high points, but it also had a lot of low points. So that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. Not at all. But yeah, that's the Hurricane Wars. All right. So that was the Hurricane Wars. I had a great time reading it and reacting to it and everything. This style of video is really fun to do. I'm having a great time. I think the next one I want to check out is Shatter Me, which is another piece of book talk royalty, like 2010s fantasy or like YA that I've never checked out before. So I'm really excited for that. So definitely subscribe if you want to see that. But anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'll have more on the way. And my cat is going to knock over my camera. I'm Pine. This is Buttercup. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for sticking around. Bye!